The Rainbow Serpent. Far off in Dreamtime, there were only people. No animals or birds, no trees or bushes, no hills or mountains. The country was all flat. Gorialla, the great rainbow serpent, stirred and set off to look for his own tribe. He travelled across Australia from south to north. He reached Cape York, where he stopped and made a big red mountain called Narrabulgan. He listened on the wind and heard only voices speaking strange languages. "This is not my country. The people here speak a different tongue. I must look further for my own people." Gorialla left Narrabulgan, and his huge body made a deep gorge where he came down. He travelled north, stopping every evening to listen on the wind for his own people. He travelled for many days, and his tracks made the creeks and the rivers as he journeyed north. Travelling north from Narrabulgan, Gorialla made 2 more mountains. One of them, Narradunga, was long and made of granite. The other, which had sharp peaks and 5 caves, was called Gormungan. His next resting place was at Fairview, where he made a lily lagoon called Minalinka.
What's that?
That's the rainbow serpent. Gorialla turned his great body round and round, but the ground was too hard to make it deep. One day he heard singing on the wind. He heard, "Ah, ah, ah." "Those are my people singing," said Gorialla. "They are holding a big bora." He travelled north with the singing, coming louder and louder. At the meeting place of the 2 rivers, Gorialla found his own people. They were dancing and singing. He crawled up quietly and lay in hiding to watch them. He watched for a long time. Then he came out and was welcomed by his people. He told them, "You men are not dancing properly, and you are not dressed properly. Watch me, and I will show you the correct way." Gorialla showed the men how to fit a lump of beeswax on the back of their heads and use feathers to make a rayed headdress. He dressed them with pandanus armbands and placed white bones through their noses. Then he taught them to dance, and they copied him until they were tired. A big storm was gathering, so all the people built humpies for shelter. The 2 young men, the Bill or Rainbow Lorikeet brothers, came running in looking for shelter, but no one had room. They asked their grandmother, the Star Woman, but she said, "I have too many dogs. I can't help you boys." The Bill boys went to Gorialla and found him snoring in his humpy. When the boys called out, he yelled and said, "I have no room for you." The rain came heavier and the boys ran all about the camp, looking for shelter, but no one would help them. The boys went back to Gorialla and called out that the rain was heavy. Gorialla said, "All right, you wait, I'll make my humpy bigger." He opened his mouth wide, right up to the roof, and said, "All right, you can come in now." The Bill brothers ran into Gorialla's mouth, and he swallowed them. Then he began worrying about what his people would do when they found out the boys were missing. He decided to travel north to Bora Bunaru, the only great natural mountain in the land. The next morning, the people asked each other who had given shelter to the Bill boys. They found the boys were gone and saw the tracks of Gorialla and knew that he had swallowed them. The men took spears and followed after Gorialla. Gorialla travelled towards distant Bora Bunaru, the mighty mountain which towered far up into the sky. When he reached the cliffs around its base, Gorialla crawled up them. He coiled up for a sleep with the Bill boys inside him. The people followed Goriala to the steep base of Bora Benaru. The men tried to climb the cliffs. Emu, turkey, brolga, tortoise, possum, barramundi. They all tried but kept falling down again. 2 Wangu, or tree goanna brothers, came along. Gurangi, the emu, said to them, "We cannot climb this steep mountain." The Wangu said, "We will climb up to rescue the Bilbil boys." And they each made a knife from quartz and began to climb the mountain. The Wangu brothers climbed for days and nights, and on reaching the top found Goriala fast asleep and snoring. They crept up to him, and the older brother said, "We will cut him open. You start down there, and I will start here." They cut until they reached the Bilbil boys, who had changed into beautiful parrots with all the colours of the rainbow serpent. The Wangu said, "You can come out now. You are now rainbow lorikeets with wings and can fly away." The Bilbil birds flew away. The Wangu brothers ran down the mountain. Goriala snored on until a cold wind blew through his empty stomach and woke him. He said, "Something is wrong with me." He looked about and saw where he had been cut and his dinner stolen. Goriala became angry and worked himself into a great rage. He began to thresh about in fury, his long red tongue flashing like lightning, and the great mountain shook and thundered as Goriala tore it apart in his anger. He hurled parts of the mountain all over the country to form hills and mountains of today. All the people were terrified of the thunder on the mountain as Goriala knocked it to pieces. Some of them were killed by flying stones. Others ran away to hide, turning themselves into all the kinds of animals, birds, insects, and plant life that live in the country today. That is how it all happened back in Dreamtime. When Goriala's anger was spent, there was only a small hill remaining of the great mountain Bora Benaru. He went down and disappeared into the sea, where he remains to this day. Now the remaining people have to look after all the animals, all the living things which were men and women in the beginning, but who were too afraid of old Goriala to remain as people. The shooting star racing across the sky at night is the eye of Goriala, watching everybody. The end.